Hello, everybody. It's my real honor to be here today with you on the Connected Industries stage in the Connected Industries Hall and introduce and open the Connected Industries stage and agenda for this week. My name's Richard Cockle. I'm the head of the GSMA Innovation Foundry and I lead Connected Industries at the GSMA. I have a fantastic team that support me on a whole host of topics around things like smart mobility, manufacturing, fintech, and a number of other topics. And what we're really trying to do is build that bridge between the two different sectors and help sectors understand what the technologies are that the mobile industry can bring to them, and then understand the needs of those sectors so that we can start building enterprise products and services for the future that can be used to develop the industry as a whole. So why are connected industries so important? Well, over the next 7 to 8 years, we'll almost see a growth of the mobile industry contributing over $1 trillion towards the GDP around the world. So there's a huge opportunity for the industry to take advantage of those new revenues and build them into the business and into the products and services that they're looking to run. And then as you can also see on the right-hand side of the slide behind me, the actual percentage of enterprise revenues within the CSP community has been continuing to grow. So over those last 5 years, you can see that huge growth. And you can see how enterprise products and services, the ones that will be relevant to the different sectors that we'll be working with and talking about over this week, are becoming increasingly important. So we've got 4 wonderful days here on this stage with 4 brilliant summits. Today we've got our Smart Mobility Summit where we'll hear everything from the rails, along the roads and then up into the sky with some sessions around drones. Tomorrow is Manufacturing Day, so we're looking at everything from extraction all the way through to logistics and understanding where the telco sector can support to create the transformation around Industry 4.0. We then explore fintech and mobile commerce and look at the new products and services that are digitizing that. And then splattered across the week, we've got a very interesting summit, which is called Sports and Entertainment. And this is where we bring together a number of the different assets, which you will hear about in the different summits, into one particular sector. So hear about how you have a stadium which has got a private network in, but it also enables you to make payments from your seat for your merchandise and your drinks, and the whole of the fan experience leading up to that. And we'll also have some great speakers talking about gaming and how that's transforming. Today's agenda, as I said, is going to be taking us from everywhere from the rails to the sky, and if you can take that and hopefully see you throughout the week. And I would like to say thank you to all of our sponsors. And then I would like to, it's my great honor to welcome up on stage Accenture. Accenture has been a partner with the GSMA over the last 3 years to make all of this possible. It was just an idea back 3 years ago, and now we've got a stage, our own stage, in our own hall called Connected Industries, and without Accenture, it wouldn't have been possible. So a huge thank you, and I'd like to welcome Michele from Accenture up on stage for our first session. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Good morning to everyone, and thanks for being with us for the kickoff session of the Smart Mobility Day. We're going to discuss about railway industry and how 5G is going to impact this transformation. So let me start with introducing the guests for this session. So I would like to come to the stage Jennifer Didoni from Vodafone, Giuseppe Angelisanti from Ferrovie dello Stato, Italian Railways, and Raphael Delfemin from Nokia. Please. No, you're here. They gave me this for you. Okay, so thanks for being with me to discuss this important topic. Clearly, this industry is going to be disrupted in the coming years, no? And this transformation, I mean, of course, it's triggered by 5G, but aims to provide new services, to improve efficiency, but at the end, no, the real purpose is to improve the sustainability of the transportation model. On that respect, this requires big transformation from the operator, no, from the railway operator, so it's not an easy transformation. And so I would like to start with you, Giuseppe. You are from the Italian railway operator, one of the biggest operators in Europe. How do you see this industry transforming, and which would be the impact of 5G in this transformation?
Good morning. Ferrovie dello Stato Group business plan foresees a very important investment with a strong focus on people, digitalization and connectivity, because we consider this element very important for our development. And we are organized into four business units: the passengers, urban, infrastructure, and passengers, urban, infrastructure, and freight. And as you can imagine, each one of them has different needs in terms of connectivity.
So talking about connectivity, Jennifer, no? The 5G, of course, is going to play a relevant role in this transformation. How do you see the 5G framework? Is 5G ready to support this transformation? What are the use cases you can see?
Sure. So I think we're just at the beginning of what kind of transformation we'll start to see from 5G, particularly in the railway industry. We've been working on various pilots and POCs, testing out technology. For a few years now, we started in Germany with Deutsche Bahn and a consortia called the Smart Railway Connectivity Campus, looking at how we can apply technology like private 5G, edge computing, and network slicing to do things like just improving punctuality of the train system, preventing accidents, and even conserving energy and being more energy efficient. And we've been rolling this out in a series of different proofs of concepts where we're testing new use cases all the time. So the most recent one we announced was in Saxony in Germany, where we're using network slice, edge computing, and private 5G to test the teleoperation of the trains, so remotely operating the trains to check how safe that is, looking at as well things like infotainment services on the train, and also looking at when the trains are stopped in the depot, how can we offload all of this data that's coming in from different sensors and IoT devices in order to do things like predictive maintenance, remote maintenance of the train.
Okay, so.
And I see it's going to continue to evolve over time. So we see ourselves eventually providing coverage over 7,000 kilometers for Deutsche Bahn in Germany, for example, and that will happen by 2025. There's obviously more evolution happening as spectrum evolves for the railway industry. So I think it's more of an evolution of the use cases and testing and piloting and experimenting and learning as it rolls out and then becomes more and more productionized over time.
So thank you. And so clearly, infrastructure is there. What you say, infrastructure is ready?
Evolving.
Raphael, what about the solution? I mean, you are from Nokia, so you are producing. So which your view?
So
end-to-end solution, not just the
Yeah, I guess that's actually the thing, right? 5G is sort of the brand, but the network is not just the final part, the radio. The network is the totality of the network that supports railway industries and any other industries, actually. Because, of course, there's no use if the radio is very modern but all the backhauling that you do on optics or IP or whatever is still very old, then it wouldn't fit the purpose, right? So what we see of that network end-to-end is people demand three things, typically. One is performance. We see much bigger demands. You were starting to mention, we see people from very obvious things. The monitoring of the platforms is now done with HD cameras, and that means a significant amount of video data in big volumes that needs to be transmitted by that network. So you need bigger performance. The second one is quality of service. What is the use of that network if all that traffic, for instance, collapses the network, and while you're very happy transmitting all kinds of signals, the command, all the key signals that you require for the performance of the railways is stopped somewhere. So we see people already making slices so that you can protect the command and control traffic from any other traffic that is running your network. And then the third one is security. We see a big demand for security because unfortunately, there's more and more attacks, and people attack just any infrastructure. We saw a very famous attack even on the hospitals in the UK. So for sure, people will be attacking the railways in every country, right? And you need to make sure that the network is not the problem, the network is part of the solution and is fully resilient and is able to stop these kind of attacks. And again, as you say, that's not just for the radio part, that is actually end-to-end, that is from the very beginning of the network all the way through the IP, optical, and the core. And you need performance, security, and quality of service end-to-end.
So thank you. And so you touch I mean, the end-to-end topic, and this is bringing to my second question to Giuseppe, and also about services. So, which are I know Ferrovia is already started to make some pilot. Which are the services today you are offering in both sectors? No?
Yes, I would like to continue also about my answer. I was saying that we need a lot of needs, and we are used to thinking about a general purpose connectivity. But what we are noticing in the last few years in the railway sector is a stratification of layers. And we can consider at least three different layers: the infrastructure, the transport, and the transport services. The infrastructure requires a specific connectivity, because the connectivity for this layer is an enabler for the IoT. Having an intelligence infrastructure gives us the opportunity to optimize the maintenance by increasing the availability. This kind of connectivity does not require very high performances in terms of throughput, quality of service, or latency. The second layer is the transport. For the transport, the connectivity can enable things such as the onboard video surveillance or telemetry. And for the third level, the connectivity requires very different characteristics, because, for example, can be used from the passengers to stay connected while traveling for leisure or business purposes. And for this kind of connectivity, we require very high performances. So we are testing several solutions to provide connectivity on board, to provide connectivity on freight train. What we would like to obtain is what we usually call the smart train, because with a smart train we can open the transport of specific products such as pharmaceutics, fresh, and so on. They need a very specific monitoring requirement.
Well, that's interesting, because at the end, and also this opening question for you, Jennifer. I mean,
Thank you.
I think we should learn from other industry. So, and in your role, you see many different applications.
Yes.
Are there other industry use case that you think can be applicable, no, on the railways industry?
Yeah, definitely. And I think the railway industry is a really nice combination of different types of industries that we see, because you have, as you mentioned, you have passenger rail, you also have freight. So the railway industry is a mix of very industrial needs as well as B2C needs, infotainment. So you have a lot of use cases that kind of hover around this particular industry. If I start first with the manufacturing industry, that's where we see, I think, the most adoption of private 5G at the moment. Often it starts with the very most basic of use cases. It's about coverage or it's about mobility, because traditionally they've needed really highly performant connectivity, which they get from Ethernet. But when you start to introduce things like AGVs or automated forklifts or robotics, having that attached by wires is quite limiting. So 5G can come in and introduce things like better coverage and mobility. It starts to get really, really interesting, I think, in my mind, when you move beyond the basic coverage and mobility into things like connected worker, connected assets, and how the connected workers interact with those connected assets. So just like Giuseppe was talking about training scenarios, we've seen customers, for example, in the airline industry, looking at using extended reality to train the employees to experience what it's like to be in a crisis situation. We're looking at using extended reality to reconfigure either a manufacturing shop floor or an airplane to optimize how things are positioned in that space. We also are seeing, as we move into more the not just connected employee, but also connected customer, where you're serving your own customers from your connected asset. We have a demo actually at the Vodafone stand. I'm sorry, I'm shamelessly plugging it.
Okay.
Of the Irish Rugby and Football Union. We've built actually a connected van for them with an MPN on board that can travel with them to wherever they're practicing, has a connected drone that can then monitor the players on the field, their performance, their health, whether they're optimized, the angle and the G-force of whatever they're doing. And then that can be extended in terms of how you serve your and engage your guests in a media setting or a stadium setting. And then most recently, we actually, during the coronation in the UK, we were able to live stream that for ITN TV over a network slice with a guaranteed SLA, guaranteed quality of service as well. So I think there's loads and loads of examples of how those different use cases could be applied to railways as well.
That's interesting. And sorry, Rafael, before coming to a question for you, I would like to ask you, Giuseppe, no, this requires a cross-industry mindset. Are you, as a railway company, are you ready to transform yourselves in such a way, so to be open, no?
Sure, we are open-minded. So, yeah, so what we are trying to do is testing several solutions, because we absolutely need to have a coverage along the track. And today we are testing a solution with signal aggregator or 5G network in high-speed mobility. And we are also planning to test the satellite connectivity. Because we need to provide connectivity in that place where no coverage is available, no terrestrial infrastructure is available. So we are open-minded in that way.
So you are becoming an innovator with an innovator mindset, no?
Yeah.
But this is a complex transformation. So I think it's required to move from a traditional mindset operator to an open innovator. So transformation is not easy. And Rafael, that's the question for you. No? How do you see this transformation? I think you have been involved in several transformations. Is it easy stuff? Or?
We've done a few. And in fact, as you say, I work for Nokia, and we're known for all the investments that we make in building products to create those networks that give you all that performance and that QoS that you were mentioning before. Maybe we're a bit less known for all the investments that we make in the teams and the processes that help people transform from today's networks to tomorrow's networks. Typically, what we see is there are two kinds of cases. Some people roll out a network from scratch. There is a new high-speed train that is deployed in a place where there was no network, no communication, so you create the network from zero. That's easy. Okay, nothing is easy in life, but that's easy, right? I mean, that is something, there's no legacy, you start, you put your optical links, you put your routers, you put your 5G at the end, we know how to do it. The most common case, however, is you transform a network. You guys have had those tracks for quite some time. You now have new demands. You mentioned about freight have different demands. People now want to watch their own mobiles while they travel. There's new things that are required, but you already have a telecom network there. Now, the only problem is it's a legacy telecom network. It may have SDH and all technologies. And you know where you want to go. You want to go to that futuristic network that we were describing with 5G, with an IP layer, with QoS, with slices and all that. But you need to move from the network you have today to the network you're building. And in the process, and this process can take you a year or two, in the process, the trains need to continue running. I mean, you cannot say, hey, let me stop all trains, I'm going to transform my network, and then I open the service again. And for like a year or two, you will be living with a combination of the two networks. That is actually more difficult than having the legacy only or having the new network only. That period of transition, when you still have some trains that are served with a combination of SDH and IP and I don't know what, and some of the others have been moved to a 5G environment, etc., we help people in that transformation, because that's actually as hard as building the network itself. And we're doing, I mean, as you said, we've done that in a number of European countries already, and we invest not only in the products and the networks, we also invest in the people that are able to move from that legacy to a place which is very futuristic. I mean, these days we have, for instance, networks that are sensing and that are able to tell you how far are they from a disruption in the network. We apply AI to those networks, and those networks can give you flags and tell you, I think that link is actually degrading a little bit faster than we would like, so maybe you need to act. Moving from that legacy world to that futuristic world, that's a project of considerable difficulty where people need to think how they address it.
No, you're right. So clearly we say the journey matters as well as the to be.
Yeah.
No?
Sometimes I say to people, hey, we're like Google Maps. So yes, you know you want to go to Plaza Catalunya in Barcelona, but you're in Fira. How do I get there? The how do I get there is very important. The Plaza Catalunya is the network you want to have, but you're in this legacy network in Fira. How do you get there? Do I take those streets? Do I go by the highway? That we can help with.
Yeah. It would be helpful to know even in these days, know how to reach Piazza Ghetto.
Actually, yes.
Okay, final question. So on the time frame readiness, I would say, how do you see, Giuseppe, no? In 2 years from now, no, the 5G in this industry, no, and you are the operator, so you are the owner of the solution. So how do you see it?
Yeah, this is a process, and it may be a very long process, but we have no time. So we absolutely need to divide what we usually call the FRMCS, Future Rail Mobile Communication System, to the 5G, the public 5G. For the first one, we need more more than 1 year or 2 years to apply to have the use cases, but we definitely can say yes. In 1 or 2 years, we have use cases using the public 5G.
While FMRS is going to take more time, no?
Yes, we need more time. It's an operational network. It's completely different.
And needs to be in parallel, needs to be developed in parallel with the GSMR.
Yes.
No,
Yes. What we are trying to find is the sustainable model.
Yeah.
Because we would like to use everything we are just using, and it's the same for the 5G. Because the key is the sustainable model. Because no one want to invest where there is no business case.
Jennifer, do you share the same view? 2 years to see some use case, or?
So I think there are depending on where you are, right? And as Giuseppe said, depending on the business case, the funding model, the ecosystem players, there are use cases today, but cracking the nut of how do we find the use cases that drive the incremental return for all the ecosystems players involved over time to get to a point where you're not just covering the major highways, to use your analogy, but we're really getting that capillarity everywhere, and the entire industry can be uplifted. That's a very long evolution and journey, but I think it's super exciting. And as Raphael said, it's going to take multiple players coming together and planning that transition, because these are mission critical services that you're providing, and that needs to be the top priority as we do all the fun and exciting, sexy use cases, right? We can't forget that this is the heart and blood of how people move across a country and freight moves across a country. So it's going to take lots and lots of players coming together, the GSMA, the telcos, the industry players, the equipment providers, the device manufacturers, the government with the spectrum. So there's a lot of players on the chessboard that need to be orchestrated. That's right. That's right.
I'm going to be bold, to be honest. I think this is going to happen, and it's going to happen faster than we think. And the reason why, you have it in Barcelona. When you get to Barcelona these days, they tell you it's not raining anymore. We have water restrictions in several places, Barcelona included. And actually, global warming is more and more of a problem across all countries worldwide. And one of the important things that governments are promoting these days is don't fly if you can take the train. We see that in France already, some lines have been canceled by the government. In Spain, actually, the government is strongly promoting railways. In Germany, in many countries. So I think there's going to be a revamped investment on railways. But then I get to customers that come and tell me, look, with my current system, I'm running, I don't know how many trains per hour. It's full. So it doesn't matter what the government says. I can't actually put more trains on the railway unless we drastically change the control system, etc., for which we need to evolve to 5G, to those kind of networks. And I think that revolution is going to happen. It's unstoppable. There's no planet B, right? So we have to do it because there's not enough water in Barcelona.
Yeah. So I completely agree, and I think we are just at the beginning of this journey. So, and honestly, I'm excited to be, in this transformation age. So I think we are at the end. So I will thank you all for your participation, for your contribution, and so let's see what's the future. I don't know, Barbara,
So thank you very much. I think railways are really important, and we didn't talk enough about railways, so I hope to have this conversation again and going further for next year. I'm looking forward to the railway of the future.
Of course.
I want to ask all our audience to please give an applause to our speaker.